Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is a channel where we get to experience storytelling, fun stories, tragic stories, mysterious stories. You all find it here. Please, before we go into today's video, please don't forget to subscribe and hit a bell button. You know what it brings? You get to experience these videos the moment they drop on. Okay, so today we're going to talk about a story. This is something which I can say which is mysterious. In the year 1970 in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, Betty Penrose, a legal secretary, experiences a tragedy, a tragedy which really shocks her life. And what is this? Lightning which destroyed her house. So after destroying her house, she was left with nothing, just suffering, financial loss. She's back to a zero. And then she looks in the heavens and says, why would God leave this to happen to me? This is negligence. God is charged with maintaining the universe, trying to keep us, his people, happy, not bringing all this sadness to us. So she was really annoyed of God having such negligence to leave her things to all be destroyed, for her to go back to zero in this hard life. So what does she do? She gets this idea of God has to pay for this, and how would God pay for this? So the only idea was making a lawsuit against God. What does she do? She goes and reaches out to her lawyer, Russell Tansey. So when she reaches out to Russell Tansey gets to buy the idea, and he comes on board to make this a reality. We are putting a lawsuit against God. So when Russell Tansey makes it a reality and sues God, puts a lawsuit against God. What were the basics of this lawsuit? So Russell Tansey argued that back then, in the same town in Arizona, there was a man who, because of his religious devotion, and he was so in love with God, that he decided to give away 30 acres of his land, so that he gave this land to God's ownership. So it was made legal that land was owned by God. So Russell Tansey said, if God owns a land in this area, then it means God can be sued. It means he has presence in this area, physical presence, to even own land. So what happens when they go to court? So this is what happens when they go to court. At the court day, Russell Tansey and Betty Penrose arrive in court, eager to see this lawsuit, to see the judgment of this case against God. So they waited for God, but God was nowhere to be seen. They waited long hours for God, but God was nowhere to be seen. So the court decided that God was not showing up. So what does it mean is Penrose gets to win this case by default, because God never showed up. So the criticism was, the questions were, what if God was around? What if God was around in court? Because what we know about God, he is omnipotent, he's omnipresent, so he was around. But what if he was around and he exercised his right to remain silent? Because that's a right. When you're in court, you can decide to keep quiet. No one's going to persecute you for keeping quiet. It's your right. So what if God was in that presence and he kept quiet? But the court felt God refused to come. So Betty Penrose won the case, and amazingly, what she was demanding for was $100,000 to settle what she had lost. So she demanded $100,000. So this was granted to her. But remember, this money has to be paid by the one who has lost the case, the guilty one. The guilty side has to pay that money. So the question was, how was she going to get this money from God? I also asked myself, how was she supposed to get this money from God? I don't know the dynamics. If guys, you know any way she would have got this money from God, you can hit the comments and tell us, you know, try to tell us how she. So even till now, nothing is known whether she managed to get this money from God. And you know, that was it. It was really a weird case, but you know, that's this world. You're always prepared for these weird things to happen. I'm going to be making these intriguing stories for you guys to catch them out, you know, and wait for more stories. They're going to be coming in. So if you subscribe and hit that bell button, you'll get them anytime I put them up. For today, that's the story we have had. Please, thanks for watching, and bye bye. God bless you.